Carl, welcome to this week's edition of In the Dugout. We've got a few questions from the fans, but I think you'd like to start by just saying a few words to start off with.
Yeah, obviously last week I've had some dialogue with Barry Brown, the SLO, that we asked a question last week which someone didn't ask to be asked, so we apologise for that. But what I have asked is that, some weeks we have no questions, so I've asked you guys to go and look on the Facebooks and on the forums and such to see what the fans were asking and what they were saying. Now, obviously, Paul asked, there was a question from Paul regarding, whether it was questioning or some players' attitudes weren't quite right, but I'll get this straight. The reason that the question you asked me was because you said there was a few fans who've asked that in the past, so it was just something that was asked. Paul didn't ask for the question to be asked. We'll clear that up. So in future, what we'll do is if you get a question off the Facebook or the forum, we could probably say we're the sources of the forum or the Facebook. We don't need to attribute the question to the individual. So hopefully that's cleared that up. But it wasn't the first time we'd heard some stuff about Dual Ridge players' attitudes. So it was a fair call, and if Paul's took any offence to saying that it was him who asked the question, we apologise, and hopefully we move on from there. But I didn't really feel that there was any issues with the question, but Paul felt he didn't ask that question, so we'll take it from there, and we'll learn from that, and we'll just say the Facebook or the forum where it's come from if we get no question.
First question for the day then. People wanting a pitch side interview with Gary Thornton before the game. Is that something we can set up, or are we sticking with what we do at the minute?
Oh, listen, I don't know. I'll speak to Gary about it, but I would like him to just focus on the job in hand on the game day, and I'm pretty sure, just me being cynical, if Gary was to go and do a pitch side interviews and all that, and we didn't play so well, and we'll probably get people saying it's because he's too busy focusing on his pitch side interview instead of talking to the players. It's a tough one. I'm not sure any other clubs do it. We'll go and have a look at that, but like I say, these questions are here to be asked. We'll put it on the list, and if Gary wants to do that, that's fine. But I'll ask the question. Certainly will ask the question.
Another one here saying that Leeds showed full highlights of the friendly game on their website after we played them. Is there any chance we could sort of set something up similar? I understand that Rob Terrace is interested in doing something like that.
Yeah, obviously the Leeds have got a heap massive more staff than us, but we did do something. Rob Terrace used to do something like this for us before. I'll speak with him, and we'll I like it. I do like it, and I think it's good for the fans. And if we can get some highlights up of home and away games, why not? It's definitely something that I think we should do. And going back to interviewing the coach before the games, I've also asked through the media team is the longer term picture, the match interviews after the matches with the player and the coach. I've asked if we can look at filming them, so then they can go on as well. So that's something for the fans. Maybe not a pitch side interview, but I've certainly asked that after the games. I know we interview them and we put it on the website, but I'd like to eventually get them filmed where the supporters can actually listen to the post game interview, like a lot of the clubs do as well.
Brad England played for the club against Hull FC. Could you clarify what the situation is with him?
Yeah, Brad's on trial. Brad was with us last year on trial and got injured in the first game he played, and he's had a bit of bad luck for about 12 months now. He got his knee right, and one thing or another he kept breaking down, but he, as you saw on the weekend, looks like he could really add to us. He's on a month's trial. and if he continues how he went on the weekend, then we'll probably look to signing him. But at this stage, he's on trial.
Like I say, he did well at the weekend. He's clearly a player that you and Gary value highly. Do you think he could add something extra to the team?
I do. I thought he was very physical. He's tough. You know, he gets stuck in. He runs good lines. And the coach has known him a lot longer than I have. I'm just sitting here watching like everyone else, and I was impressed with him. So you know, if that's Gary will analyse everything and then feedback, and if he wants him in the ranks, we'll get him in the ranks. But you know, fair play to him. We've kept him involved in the rehab side and tried to get him right, and I thought he looked good.
First defeat of pre-season, and in the final game against Hull, they played a few Super League players. What was your take on the game as a whole?
Listen, I thought the game was alright. Certainly showed us, you know, we have to play at a tempo. But it was a good head out for us. We started really well. We dropped off a bit there, and then, you know, they burnt us. They went really quick on us, and we learned a lot. We learned a lot out of it, and that's what the pre-season games are for. You know, we're not getting carried away with ourselves. I'm pretty sure if we would have won that game, you know, there might have been some cracks that we're papering over, but that showed us a lot what we need to work on, and the boys know now that, you know, you don't perform, you won't be getting picked, and there's certainly a lot to do. But in patches, I thought we looked really good, and there's players there who really stood up, and they'll be the names on the team sheet come Keighley.
Do you think the scoreline slightly flattered Hull? I mean, we scored some nice tries, maybe could have had a couple more at times, and it was just a case of take your chances when you're on top.
No, listen, the scoreline's a scoreline, and I don't think it flattered us. I've said it from day one. You get in this game what you deserve, and if you don't take your chances and you don't score them tries, well, the score's going to look like that. So, you know, we're in a stage now where everyone's battling for a shirt, and we haven't been in this position before. You know, that I couldn't sit here and tell you what team's going to play Keighley. I'm pretty sure the coaching staff, if they pick teams, would all pick different teams. So the competition for places is certainly healthy. Some boys will be really upset, and they should be. You know, we've got some players now who will start questioning the players for making little errors and stuff like that, whereas before it was maybe accepted. It won't be accepted now. And we've got some boys who have played at a high international level who will certainly, you know, let that be known. I think the last time we had someone sort of start doing that sort of stuff was Paul Cook. He, you know, as harsh as it may sound, he really used to fly off the handle at them when they'd make errors and stuff like that, whereas maybe we've got into a little bit of a, you know, it's okay, well, it's not okay, and we need to really get angry when we don't do things right, and generate our you know, our anger in the right position of the field, or the right areas, and make sure that you make up for these errors when you make an error. So it's going to be tough to get in the side, but all the players know that.
Do you think that competition for places will bode well towards the end of the season? Obviously there's at least 2 players for every position now, so if anyone has a bad game, they know there's going to be somebody there ready to take the place.
Yeah, and we touched on the dual reg last week, where I says not only the players here are snapping at the heels, we got the pick of the boys that we played on the weekend who did really well, and our players know that. Like I said last week, when we signed them, we explained the dual reg situation, and, you know, I thought that the young fellas at Hull look good. Now, if we've got an opportunity for some of them, if our boys aren't pulling the socks up, then, you know, we all know what we're trying to achieve this year. Then the coaching staff have to go and try and pick the best players in the group, and that includes the dual reg, for us to win games. So certainly healthy. I don't think we've ever been in this position come round 1 or the start of the iPro Cup for many years. We all knew in this last couple of years what the sort of team would be like, and I ain't got a clue what the team's going to be like, which is fantastic for the club, and the boys who don't get in just need to work really, really hard and stay positive, because they'll certainly get opportunities.
The weekend off this weekend ahead of the Keighley game next week gives a chance for the players to sort of freshen up after 3 tough weeks.
Oh, listen, we've got our season launch tomorrow night, which is a really good turnout. Is going to be a really good turnout for everyone who's coming, and all the players are coming to that. And they can, they can let their hair down for a night, and and then we're into a real big season. So we're looking forward to the launch. It's something we haven't done before, and there's quite a few sponsors and that sort of stuff turning up. So it'll be a good night. Got Adrian Morley, guest speaker, who tells some good stories, and Robbie Paul's emceeing it. So we're all looking forward to having a real good night together tomorrow night, and then or tonight, won't it be, when the dugout goes out? It'll be tonight. So that'll be good, and we'll get ready for the season next week.
Thanks, Carl.